Alright, so we're going to put together a little guide for anyone who hasn't done Raids 3 yet, mostly Brand and Ant, I'm assuming, but anyone else could use this if they would like. So to start off, we're going to come to this pillar here, and you have your party. If you're applying to a party, you would apply, obviously, but these are the invocations. When you get to 150 to 299, that is normal mode, and this will be blue. But if you are anything below 150, this will be yellow, and it'll be entry mode. And anything above 300 is expert mode. In entry mode, with 0 invocations, you can get these 4 things. You have the thread to increase your rune pouch size, and you have the jewels. If you go above 150, you then have the chance for this, and obviously the higher you go, the better chance for these drops. The summary will also tell you everything that has going on. I'm going to be running this at 270s, so some of the stuff, if you're running it lower, you won't have to worry about, but it's still, the rooms are pretty similar either way. So if we go to gear, melee gear, go in wearing your melee. Bandos is fine. Use a Serp helm if you don't have a helm. There's a lot of poison and stuff that you're going to want to do. Make sure you have your defender. You can use a brimstone ring. I usually melee a lot of stuff, including the final boss. So bring this. Wear barrels gloves so you don't have to do the switches. For a stab weapon, if you don't have a rapier, you can go ahead and use this Karis Partisan. I have a jewel on it, so it's Karis Partisan of Corruption, but you get it from the quest. So go ahead and grab that and bring it. As for your switches, try to have a 5 or a 4-way switch. Obviously, I have the gloves, so don't do that. You can do the Assembler and the Mage Arena 2 cape. Try to bring a Trident, Sanguine Staff. If you don't have Crystal, do Blowpipe with Arma or Blowpipe with Void. Obviously, you can adjust this. Bring 1 Super Combat, 1 Ranging. 6 Brews, 4 Restores, should be good. And then spec weapons. You mainly need the Dragon Dagger. You don't need the Dragon Claws, but bring Dragon Dagger. And then if you don't have these, just bring more Brews. Before we go in, we're going to go ahead and pre-pot up with an Angler. If you don't have the Serp Helm, go ahead and drink the Antidote. And then I like to do a Divine, Stamina, and then we're going to Stamina. Also, make sure you bring runes for Ice Barrage and Blood Barrage. Alright, so once you have all of that down, we're going to go ahead and go in. So when you get into the raid, you have 4 options. You have the Path of Crondus, which is Crocodile. You have Scarab, Mechan, I don't know, Monkey, and Het, which is Human. If you have a timer, it'll be up in the top left corner. The timer does not start until you choose a room, so you can chill in this room and kind of make your first decision, but once you make that first decision, you are on a timer if you've put on that invocation. Your room levels are up here. I've chosen all room levels at 0, and then your party orbs, just like in TOB. When I am doing solo, I usually like to just start off with Scarabus, so that is going to be the first part of this guide. Scarabus has a big puzzle room at the beginning, so we'll go ahead and show you this route. This is just a trial and error. There's no attack delay on these, so you can just come up and smash them as quick as you can. Just watch out for the falling orbs if you get them wrong. Once they turn pink, you know it's going in the right order. If you get it wrong, they'll just reset and you just start again. On solo, you only have to do 1 on each side, but if you are doing duo or groups, you obviously have to do them. This puzzle right here is just a memory puzzle. I'm not going to do it, but it just gives you 5 things. You just step on them in a row, and then it'll complete it and unlock this door. But we already have this one. This is a puzzle where it's going to give you a number, so give me 30, and the symbols line up for something specific, so like W is 8, bird is 6. I have something pinned in the RuneScape channel with the numbers if you need it. Simple as that, you just run over the numbers till it matches up. This is a light puzzle where when you step on like this one, if it was turned on, these 2 would light up and this one would turn off, or the opposite, you know, depending on what it is. You just have to get them all lit up. If you get it down to 1, you can just right click and flip it. You'll take 20 damage and then you can do that. This is just a memory, so we have W, knife, boot, diamond, and then star, boot, knife, diamond. So we have our 2 diamonds. If your stand pot has run out, go ahead and drink 1 for this. What was it? Boot. Knife. Stars up here. And there you go. You only have to do one on each side, and then you go in. Okay, now for the Scarab Boss. Each room is going to have its one puzzle and then its boss. You go ahead and use this crystal, and you're going to hit yes to begin. Go ahead and throw Piety on it first. Drop something so you have a little bit of space. And if you don't have the invocation on, this will just be a 1x1. It won't be like a 3x3 explosion. You can get one hit. And you can get two. If you get flies on you, that means it's about to do this special attack. Go ahead and find a corner and just stay in that corner. Usually if I wasn't explaining things, I'd be here faster, so that super combat would actually do something. So get my 2. 1. At some point he is going to shoot out these eggs. The big brown eggs are what contain a small agile scarabs which use range. If you're in solo, you can just ignore them. They don't do anything as long as you have protect from range on. I have an invocation on that spawns both of these. If you do not have that on, you'll just have the ranger. The meleeer does heal, so you want to go ahead and kill him. You want to avoid the suicide bombing scarabs there. Go ahead and take care of these, and then we can kill these scarab swarms. These guys, you'll always hit your max hit, so if you have a blowpipe spec or something you need to use it, you can do that. But basically, these guys heal his shield back up, which you can see at the top of the screen. So if you kill enough of them, you can make this second phase very fast. So just go through. Thing. 2 hits and then 1. You would be using your Scarab Partisan here if you did not have a rapier. Your Scarab Partisan has a special ability where it's like a 1 in 5 chance to hit triple damage on a scarab, so you can hit some pretty big numbers. If you get the blue jewel, it's very accurate. The red jewel is more so for groups, and the yellow jewel I don't think has a use at all. If you're having a hard time dodging those, Protect from Mage can half the damage, but they'll do like 50 or so damage. Second phase, you would normally just have the Major and the Meleeer. So we're going to go ahead and take out the Major first. As you can see, these red orbs charging around it. If he gets those charged up, he will release a mage attack that does like 59 to 60 damage, so definitely focus him first. We're protecting range, so we're going to go ahead and take care of the melee second. And then the ranger last. Just keep an eye on your prayer. Avoid the bombers. If you're in a group, it's best to have like 2 people on the 2 diagonals right there. Again, when he does that, you just want to go back to your diagonal that way so you don't block half the room. So this will be the last time we have to go through the shield. Now he's going to do that one final time, and now we're at his true amount of health, so we can... If you have declaws or if you brought a spec weapon, go ahead and use it. Unfortunately, mine did not hit at all. Just ignore the eggs again like we have been, and there we go. Easy enough room. You should only use about 3 sips of a restore, 1 sip of a super combat. Pick up your brew. You can ignore all that. If you got the dung, that means you were MVP of that room, and you can leave. Next up is going to be the Crocodile Path, because these 2 are the easiest, where you don't need overloads, which the raid will eventually give you after completing 2 rooms. I'm going to go ahead and run in here. The goal of this room is to bring water to this plant while defending it from the crocodiles, so we're just going to drop, grab a water container. The south side has the much easier room, so if you can get it done in 2. Basically like the Sepulcher, you're just going to avoid the spikes, avoid the poison, and just run through. If you get through the whole thing unhit, your water will give you 100, so you can do this in less than a minute. If you get hit, it'll go down to 50, and then 25, and so on. One of these will spawn every once in a while, just go ahead and freeze it, kill it. We go to the next one. So that one's pretty straightforward. This one, you just gotta wait a little bit. And there you go. Puzzle room done. Very simple. You can use a stam if you need to. That side of the room is a bit more complicated, but very easy 55-second room. This room, go ahead and if you have claws, switch into your melee gear. Protect from melee. If you're going to melee him, you have to very quickly flinch him. You cannot just stand there. The things that he is shooting out currently, the pottery-looking things, are mage. So you're going to protect mage against them. This calculates the damage as it hits you, so you have plenty of time when he shoots it out. He'll shoot out poison, just avoid it. And you can shoot the jugs, which have water to wash away the poison. And just like Dragon Slayer 2, we're just gonna stand in the waves to avoid getting damaged. That is a ranged attack. Again, you have until it hits you to brace, plenty of time. You got Rigor, or whatever your highest thing is, and a ranging potion turned on. You can take off your Primordial Boots or your Dragon Boots to give you a bit more range bonus if you want. But for the most part, you are just going to be ranging this entire boss. This phase, you're going to avoid the poison. And you have to push these jugs into the spot so that you have poison free behind these rocks, because in a second here he will do a special attack. And that special attack, you can only have 3 spaces behind these rocks. So you just kind of have to move quickly. Just keep your prayer up. He has blood barrages, so if you can switch. If not, it only does like 10 damage and only heals him 5, so it's not that big of a deal. Again, this is the waves. I'm just gonna hit that. You can push, pull, or hit, so make sure, depending on which one you want to do, you're clicking it correctly. That can really mess you up, especially in rocks. It's nice if you have a blow pipe, especially, to make sure you marked the farthest you can go back so you don't get pulled into these. But it'll always go in a rotation of waves, rocks, or rock, wave. You should be going through only about 4 of them, unless you're really unlucky. This, if you have the invocation turned on when he has the blood magic, will just spawn the bloods like a maiden, but they don't leave a trail, and you don't have to kill him, so you just keep attacking and move away from him, and then they're gone. Go ahead and restore up in our range here. We're going to push and then instantly attack. There's no attack delay once you attack those, so you can instantly turn around and hit him again as well. We're going to stay back here. I'll take off the helm just for some extra range. When you hear that noise that sounds kind of like Olm, that means he's enraged. He'll start attacking faster now. There will be no special attacks. You just solely focus on prayer at this point. You can do the spec if you want. I honestly think it's better to just stay unranged. I took a bit of damage there doing all the switches and whatnot, and it didn't even really hit that hard, so. But there we go. Go ahead and switch back into your melee switch. If you got the Fang, that means you were the MVP for this room. Okay, once you've done 2 rooms, the spirit will show up and you get to choose your supplies. As long as your supplies are looking good, you should most likely go with power. To explain a little bit, salts are your overloads. Adrenaline halves your special attack. So like the DDS will only use 12, but we need an adrenaline for the final boss. So obviously we're probably going to take this. Nectars are your brews. Tears of Eladinus are your superstores. Blessed Scarabs are the purple potions from chambers where it'll just over time make your prayer go up by 5. And Ambrosias are a panic potion that instantly max heal you to 125 and max put your prayer to 125. They're 1 dose each. It'll eventually be changed to 1 potion that is 2 doses. We're looking good on supplies, so we're going to go ahead and grab that. You can drop those because we have overloads now. We're going to grab our 1 overload, switch into our mage gear, and go into the monkey path. Grab potions, it gives you 100, and we're going to grab hammers. If you are in a group, only 1 person will have this symbol above their head, and their orb will be blue, and that means that they can see what is going wrong with the room, and you will have to communicate with others what they need to fix. This first wave, 2 meleeers. Go ahead and take care of them. That symbol means that we need to go onto the vents and dump a potion. This next wave is... My switch is a little messed up here, but... This next wave is 1 major and 1 ranger. Next up is going to be 2 meleeers and a shaman. The shaman will spawn a bunch of thralls right here that will melee you. Once he spawns too many of them, he'll start maging you, but as long as you take care of him quickly, it's not an issue. This means pillar. We're going to go ahead and fix the pillar. Just going to blood barrage them real quick. Next up is 2 rangers and a volatile. Volatiles will blow up as soon as they get towards you. Some people like to mark them, that's fine. Then we have majors and a cursed. The cursed will drag venom around him. We got vents again, so we gotta go do that. Freeze the venom guy, and then we're gonna take care of that. You can range or you can mage the venom guy. He does not do well with melee. Gonna run by real quick, get rid of the volatile, and take care of these rangers. Another vents. I like to pray against some of these early waves just so I don't have to use as many supplies or blood barrage as much. Once you get to these waves, you usually right melee because you're gonna have a bunch of thralls on you as more of these guys spawn. If you fail to do this, you have a pretty good amount of time to do it, but if you fail to do it, you'll take like 40 damage or so. It's not the end of the world, but it can kill you if you're already low to begin with. If you are in crystal armor, you can hit freezes on these guys. Their defense is very low. Again with the vents. Usually want to focus the shamans first. And focus whatever's doing damage to you. The room will not move on until you clear all of the ones that spawned. The thralls do not count, so you can leave them. We're going to go ahead and assault now that we're halfway through. A little bit more than halfway, I should say. Watch out for those volatiles. I have on the Entity Hider Hide and Dead NPCs plugin. That's why as soon as they die, they disappear, so I'm not accidentally clicking on dead things. Shouldn't use too many supplies in this room. Just a restore too. At the end of the puzzles, you do not get auto-healed, but at the end of the boss fights, you do, so... Going into this boss, you will need to restore back up. And you will get your run energy when you go in, so you don't need to use your stam. Okay, for the monkey room, I apparently did not salt in the puzzle room, so we're going to go ahead and do that. I have a couple invocations turned on that make this very difficult, but very easy at the same time. So you're just going to protect from melee and get out your stab weapon, your whip, whatever you're using, and just go ahead and attack him. This is his slam attack, so as long as you stand in one corner, as soon as it starts, just run to the other corner and you'll be fine. He will have rocks fall, and when those rocks fall, he will throw a rock at you. As long as you are standing next to the rock, you will not take damage. If you aren't standing next to it, you will take a large amount of damage. You can use these baboons or the sarcophagus to block some damage, if you can't get to these rocks. But I would highly suggest just play around these rocks. Keep your health high. These salts are overloads, so you don't have to restore after brewing. It'll eventually just put your stuff back up. I have this thing called Mind the Gap on, which is an invocation that will instantly kill you if you get knocked down there, so you always want to stay on the sides, because at some point he will throw you back there. As you can see, I did not make it that, so I got it for like a 70-something. We'll knock you down, you put your range gear on, and you will need to take care of these. If you're low health, take this time to brew up, and then if you're fast enough, you can get up here. I'm going to use this time to heal. And then once you're ready, just go back to attacking him. And his slam attack, just avoid that. Rocks. We usually want to go to the side one, so we have to go all the way down here. That's why we started running early. Again, keeping in mind that if we get hit down there, we will insta-die. No one wants to do that. As soon as he jumps, we're going to move over here. We'll protect from range on just for the monkeys. As soon as that ball hits them, they'll be gone. Some people put on the invocation when they die, they drop bananas. Those bananas will do like 25 damage and stun you, so just be careful of that. Very easy invocation. Forget to put your defender back on. Do not let your prayer drop. This dude hits very hard if you're not protecting. I have the thing that makes prayers 100% effective, so even with 100% effective, he is still hitting 15s and so on. He can do that rock throw attack and his slam attack at the same time, so you want to keep some distance. Whatever. Stamina. Like that right there. We're gonna go ahead and use our spec weapon. He's at 1 HP. Hopefully we finish him off, and there we go. Easy room as long as you're paying attention. Keep your health high. If you got the big banana, that means you were MVP for this room. Next up is the human path. We're gonna go ahead and switch into our mage gear. Grab our pickaxe. If you have a dragon, rune pick, whatever, you can deposit pickaxe in here. It makes this room a lot faster. You can go ahead and run in solo to do that, and then just run out and gear up, though, so you don't waste inventory space. This is a light puzzle, kind of like the crab room in Chambers. We're going to go ahead and break down a wall so the light can get through. And we're going to rotate clockwise that mirror. The black orbs and also the white light will do about 20 damage to you if they hit you, so just try to avoid them. The first part of this next boss is a mage phase, so if you do get damaged, you can try to blood barrage and whatnot. Once all the mirrors are aligned, you're just going to go ahead and click on this and mine it. You should get it about 50% done if you're solo. Even if you're in a group, this should be about a 2 down. This is probably the easiest puzzle because these mirrors can't be moved. Just place down that one mirror and then you're done. Very easy. Go ahead and put your pickaxe back. There's a Tombs plugin that lets you one-click that, because usually that's like the lower item, or the lower option. And I'm going to go ahead and go in. If your salsa ran out, go ahead and redo that. I like to take off some of my melee stuff because you're going to be kiting him. But to start off, you're going to do protect from melee and just mage him and run around the room. If you are not the tank, meaning you were not the first one to go in, you can just stand there. If you're in a group, and you can just mage him. The goal is to get his health low enough where it's going to force his shadows to spawn, which we'll see here in just a minute. If all 4 of his shadows are up like they are now, he is immune to damage until you kill one of these shadows. So we're going to go ahead and just do this one. Again, we're just fighting around the room, avoiding him. Every once in a while he will hit, it's fine. And then because he is still in his mage phase, we got red, white, yellow, black. When you turn black, you will have orbs follow you around. Usually, unless you're in this phase, you won't see black when you're in a group if you don't have the invocations on. Just stand still when you turn black, those are your orbs, but obviously if he teleports, you have to do that color thing. His second phase is he will use range, so we're going to protect from range, and we're going to melee him. He's weak to stab, however you can use whatever weapon you brought, your whip, scythe, whatever you have. Salts are running out, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Once you lower his health enough, he'll change prayers again. I just stepped on my own orb, so that's why I got damage there. We're paying attention to the colors: red, black, yellow, white. And his next thing that's going to come up is he's going to be maging, so we're going to protect from mage. And we are going to range him. It's kind of like the combat triangle. So whatever he is using, you are going to use the melee style that is better than it. So mage is weak to range, so that's what we're doing right now. Keeping our health high, keeping our restores high. Yellow, white, red, white. His next thing is going to be protect from melee, and then we're going to mage him, so that's why we've already switched. When you kill a shadow, you can only hurt him in that quadrant of the compass that shadow is dead in, so make sure you always drag him into it, otherwise you're just going to be hitting with arrows. So, there we go. We're going to go ahead and come over here and kill the next shadow. This is by far the longest room out of the 4. So we usually save it for last. We have the salts to make it go by quicker. Red, white, yellow, black. So if you have two, there's an invocation that makes him do 2 special attacks. If you're solo, you'll have it do this every time. You just walk in diagonals to avoid those orbs, and it's a very easy free 20 points of invocation. Then with the shadow. This will be the last shadow. Next up will be Protect from Mage while ranging, so we're going to switch north here now. It is yellow, white, white. So this is where I meant walking diagonal. As soon as that's done, you want to run in here as fast as possible, because if you look at these orbs on the side, when they charge up, there will be a special attack that will affect all the quadrants except the one the shadow's missing in. Don't have my crystal top on. Once you kill him in this phase, you're going to switch to your full melee gear and your stab weapon or your spec weapon. Unfortunately, we did not. Red, white. This is where the diagonal walking comes in. Black. Make sure your health is very high for the next part coming up. It's a very annoying part. You definitely don't want to die on it. We took care of that. Go ahead and protect our mage, put piety on, and turn on spec weapon. And he's just going to teleport to each of these quadrants, so we're just going to run back and forth. You can get 3 hits on him, or 1 Dragon Claw spec, obviously. And once he's dead, there you go. If you got the ashes, that means you were the MVP in this room. Go ahead, switch to your ranged weapon, and we're going to go ahead and get our last bit of supplies before the final boss. Okay, so since you took power to begin with, you're usually going to grab life because we need those supplies. Go ahead and rearrange your inventory so that you have a 6-way switch here with your dragon dagger. You are going to need your blue potion, so I like to have it up there. You don't need a stamina. I'm going to drink this brew just so I have the extra health. Looking really low on supplies, but that should be fine. Hopefully. Once you have your inventory set up, you're going to go ahead and go in. Whatever your best gear is probably what you want to use for this final boss. I prefer to use range because you do a lot of moving. I'm going to go ahead and use rigor. Boss will not start until everyone is hit ready. And you're going to want to have one person blocking these orbs, so this warden here charges slower than this one. You'll see why in just a minute. Once this guy is charged fully, you can move away from here. There's no point in blocking anymore. This guy will spawn the red pyramids, this one will spawn the yellow. They do not spawn in the same spot, that's why you want them differently, otherwise it's very hard to avoid. After pyramids, this guy is going to shoot orbs that are smaller, but you basically just need to stay away from your teammates. If you're in a solo, it doesn't matter. And this guy is going to shoot large orbs that, if you are with teammates, you need to stand on top of each other. We'll do about 25 to 30 damage, so we're going to go ahead and heal up. Yellow pyramid again. You are salted, so your stats will go back up. And there we go, pyramid is dead. We're going to go ahead and switch into our mage gear. If you block this side, this guy will spawn, which affects the final fight, but I think this way is a bit easier. If you hear that bell or see the skull throne, that is a ranged attack. When that starts doing something, that means to do something. This is the windmill effect, just attack. A red scimitar being thrown at us is protect melee. Red skulls is protect mage. It's range again. About now is when the windmill should stop. You don't want to be right next to him because he can melee, but you want to be close for our switches. Once he's dead, we're going to go ahead and go into that. We're going to drink our blue potion, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to switch into our whip or our rapier. 4, 5, and 6. We are now going to switch into mage gear. Use this time to heal up if you need it. That is just a attack that will make you stand still, and it'll turn off your prayers, so just turn it back on. Very easy to avoid. Salt's almost running out, so we're going to use that. This is a line special attack, so what you want to do is probably about right here. That one will run out, and then just run away from this one. That one will keep going even if you down the Wardens, so you definitely want to make sure to, like, be careful about that one. Then we're going to switch to our melee switch. Our blue potions still be working, so we're going to finish off our DDS specs. You should be able to get 9 hits in here, so you're going to do all your DDS specs, and then your rapier hit. And then switch into our range gear. You're going to be ranging for a majority of this fight, so you can take off Scarab Helm or whatever you want. You don't need to protect anything. As you can see, he is hitting parts of the ground, and he will always start on the left. So you're going to start here and go right. And go left. And go middle. I have a thing on that makes this a little faster. It is very slow on normal, so if you're on normal, you should be able to get it probably 2 hits in. But it's just like walking ahead for the chambers there. It's very easy to keep up with. After a certain amount of time, he'll spawn these skulls, which you can melee only. There is no attack delay with these, so you can just go ahead and 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go back to our right side and start ranging again. Things go wrong, you have your white potions. I like to stay above 99. Point, he will spawn the crocodile, as you can see. So we're going to go ahead and protect from mage is what he usually starts with. He can do protect from range. It's just like during his original boss fight, it doesn't calculate until it hits you. So you got plenty of time to switch. If you have the invocations on when I have, you will take no damage as long as you break weapon. If you were to do the other Warden and you block that, you would have Aka, and he does 3 melee, or does 3 range into 3 mage, just like Hydra does, so you would just have to count that, or you can react to it. After this, he'll spawn the monkey, which will do is boulder drops. If you did the other one, you would have the Scarab, which would do the flaming things. I have that invocation on that does the flaming things as 3, so obviously I don't want to deal with that. If you didn't have that on, it would just be like this, but a flaming ball instead of a rock. You'll go through 4 skull phases, so our 4th one will be coming up, I think, when he's around 300 HP. So there's the last one. If you get hit by the skulls, it'll just knock you back and kind of delay what you're doing. Mess that up a little so I can get my prayer right. I'll go ahead and put these back on now. When he gets below, I think it's 95 HP. Is when he will go into his enraged phase. During his enraged phase, you obviously have to protect from this guy and avoid the rocks from this guy. One more hit should put him into it. That should be it. We're going to go ahead and switch into melee. If you have another blue potion, you can go ahead and do that. He is weak to crush, range, and mage. You just want to go ahead and avoid the falling rocks and try to avoid the lightning as best you can. I like to do this X pattern. Sight it in, everything. Obviously there is a lot going on here. If you don't feel comfortable, use your white potion. As you take longer, the floor will start to fall out. So make sure you're doing this fast, but you have plenty of time. I say as the floor is falling out in front of me. And there we go. If you haven't used it, go ahead and use it, because it'll give you anti-poison for the next 12 minutes going into your next raid, which is always nice to have a Serp Helm. And that is the complete of the boss fight. If you got it underneath the timer, it'll tell you. It'll tell you all your stats. It'll let your clan know if you hit a PV or not. Let me go ahead and go in. And we most likely will do the stereotypical white chest of celebration as always. Yep, typical white chest. So I can grab our loot, the average. And if you walk over here, you can go ahead and see the stats of the raid. You can see who is the leech, who did the most damage, who has the most melee damage, damage taken, damage dealt, and so on. And that's how you complete a raid.